Hi everyone. Today we will run through the 3 chapters of the book, Reinventing Project Basic Learning. Before anything else, let us first discuss an overview of PBL or Project Basic Learning. PBL is a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in real-world and personally meaningful projects. They are taught to explore real-life problems. Their knowledge is enriched because teachers make learning come alive. PBL is different from doing regular school projects. In order for us to use PBL effectively, we have to understand all about creating a project for our students. In Chapter 3, Imaging the Possibility, we are reminded to establish the conceptual framework of a project. To do this, we have to know the big ideas: educational objective, learning disposition, and position basic learning. Before we can do a project, we have to know what the big idea is, or what the most important thing to know is. We can do this by sketching our curriculum and the teaching guides. Then, we should ask ourselves, what do these standards add up to? The answer is the big idea. In thinking about the big idea, we also have to consider the real-world context and the value of the idea to the community. This is so that we can keep the student engaged. We want to have a project that is consistent with our objective. We can use Bloom's taxonomy of the education objective, which include lower to the higher order categories: remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Let us focus on higher order categories. To analyze means to examine, explain, and investigate. To evaluate it means to judge, select, design, improve, defend, debate, recommend, or assess. To create means to combine, invent, design, image, propose, or formulate. Learning disposition are habits of the mind. These are traits, habits, attitudes, and feelings that we encourage. Yet, we cannot directly teach these habits to the student. Examples are confidence, curiosity, resourcefulness, cooperation, motivation, persistence, and courage. Lastly, we have to imagine what position-based learning looks like. This is where we answer the question, why should our students care about the project? What would make them curious? What makes them interested? Quoting the authors of the book, project with position help connect with the social and the emotional aspect of the learning experience. In Chapter 4, Stage for Discovery, the author focused on selecting and designing projects through various examples from educators around the world. We can design our own project or use an existing design from someone else. Regardless, we need to review other plans first. This allows us to become curricular consumers of design and information. Pitfalls may not be avoided. As early as the design stage, we have to foresee the possible pitfalls of the project. This includes having a project that is long on activity but is short on learning outcomes, technology layer over traditional practice, trivial theme, overly scrapped activity, zero focus on formative assessment, an assessment that does not feel authentic for the learners. In designing a project, we have to consider doing a promising project that does not fall short in achieving learning. There are tips in designing projects. One is to use flexible framework for project design as recommended by Canadian educator Sylvia Chart, author Daniel McGrath. Also recommend to get away from traditional thinking. Lastly, we have to know that project ideas come from everywhere, and oftentimes one successful project leads to another. In Chapter 5, Making Assessment Meaningful, it is emphasized that PBL is personality learning. Therefore, assessments are more complicated than true or false or multiple choice tests. We have two types of assessment: formative assessment and consumptive assessment. Formative assessment is learned along the way or using assessment during the learning process. This allows us to tap into our student thinking so we can adjust the project accordingly. Therefore, we can use formative assessment through setting milestones, planning checks, and looks for progress markers. Meanwhile, when we say summative assessment, we refer to an assessment done at the end of the project. This measures the quality of the project for this further improvement. This includes checking rubrics and following school assessment tools. This image summarizes what summative assessment looks like. Thank you.